Just when you thought it was over, we have more stuff to talk about with the Sonic movie franchise. As a matter of fact, it's not Sonic Movie 3. Well, we will get into some Sonic Movie 3 stuff today, but no. Today, we are talking about Sonic Movie 4. Yes, it's been officially confirmed all over Twitter. Also, the third Sonic movie, which we haven't even seen yet, is already making history. So today's a big day to be a Sonic fan. Let's get into all the news. Here it is from Discussing Film. It says Sonic 4 is in the works, in theaters, spring 2027. Wow, that is so long from now, man. I swear. We're gonna watch the third movie and then it's gonna be sick, and then we're just gonna be waiting for the next one. I'm kind of upset about that, but obviously excited for the future. And I guess this isn't just like tabloid stuff, because the actual voice actor for Sonic himself, Ben Schwartz, says this is not a drill. Sonic 4 2027 has been confirmed from Sonic himself. As a matter of fact, it's also been retweeted by the official Sonic movie account. So this is confirmed news, guys. It's officially happening. Spring 2027 is the release of Sonic Movie 4. We still don't have technically, I guess, the title for it. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be called Sonic Movie 4. We don't have a logo yet, but we do know that a fourth Sonic movie is coming spring 2027. So here it is. It says Paramount is prepping Sonic the Hedgehog 4, with the studio anticipating a spring 2027 release for the latest entry in the family-friendly franchise. The news comes after Sonic the Hedgehog 3 races into theaters Friday, where it's expected to top the box office with 55 to 60 million from 3,800 North American theaters. The sequel is shaping up for a nice holiday season hit with Paramount, hence the interest in more Sonic adventures. Internationally, the film will open up in 52 markets on Christmas. Critics have also liked the latest Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So, in similar fashion to Sonic Movie 2, Sonic Movie 4 has officially gotten some type of announcement or confirmation that it's going to be in the works prior to the release of the third film, which actually comes out tomorrow. Although, some people have already seen it. I personally have not. I'm not sure when I'm going to see it because I'm a little sick right now, but eventually I'll get to it and I will drop a review for it. But I gotta say, on the outset, this screams absolute confidence from Paramount in the product. Movie 3, which we'll get into in a little bit, has been doing extremely well with critics. And, you know, there's a lot of unanswered questions for the Sonic movie franchise. You know, where do they go after movie 3? Personally, I haven't really seen the post-credit scene or even the third movie, so I don't know exactly which direction they take it. Like, what is the fate of Eggman? What happens with the post-credit scene reveals? Like, who are the characters? What exactly is the next step for the franchise? Will Jim Carrey retire? Will there be no Eggman in a future Sonic movie project? That is a question that remains to be seen, and that is kind of like the looming question that hangs over the franchise's head. One thing I think is for certain, though, is I think that the movie universe is definitely going to expand outside of what we've seen for the first 3 movies. I think we've pushed Earth to its absolute limits, especially with the fact that Gerald Robotnik and Shadow tried to destroy the planet. So as far as any of the Earth storylines, I think it's going to get much bigger as the movie expands, and maybe they'll be able to tell the story through spin-offs and other things of that nature as we gear up to really turn the Sonic movie franchise into what it was always supposed to be, and that is a true Sonic universe. We can't forget the fact that in the previous Sonic films, we've seen entire different planets that were inhabited by echidnas. We also know that Tails, I don't know if he's from the same planet as them or he's from a different planet, but there's essentially a bunch of different planets and interplanetary travel, or whatever you want to call it. We also can't forget that Green Hill is something that is featured in that Sonic's home planet as well. There's a lot of lore with like the Echidna tribe and the owls and stuff like that. You know, the origins of the Master Emerald, the Chaos Emerald. So there's a lot of stuff that they can do with future Sonic movie projects, and I think the future of the franchise probably lies outside of Earth. But I mean, hey, listen, it remains to be seen, but in order for the movies to keep it fresh and not necessarily rehash similar plots, they might have to, you know, try to expand outside of that world and kind of tell the story that gets even bigger. They did say they want to make these movies to be Avengers Endgame level type movies. So with that being said, I think after the stakes rise so high, that's the only place that we could possibly go after this. You know, something that also comes to mind with respect to multiple planets and Sonic and having an Earth as a homeworld is Sonic X. This is something that they explored and they did it pretty well. So maybe in future Sonic movie projects, Sonic's home planet could eventually merge with Earth, and then the stakes get so big, like, you know, they're bigger than even Gerald Robotnik and Shadow trying to destroy Earth. It's like multiple planets are involved at once, and you still get to keep some of those characters from the original Earth, like Tom and Maddie or whoever. So there's a lot that they can do with this, man. As long as Chris Thorndike doesn't appear in the post-credit scenes, I think we'll be all right. So why is Sonic Movie 4 already getting announced? And well, it's probably because Sonic Movie 3 is already making history. Yes, this is currently on pace to be the highest rated video game film ever. The Rotten Tomatoes score is pouring in right now, and it's still early, but a sizable chunk of reviews have come in, and the score is right now extremely impressive. Let's get into some of the reviews, because Sonic Movie 3 is currently tracking to be the best film in the entire franchise. And it's not just me saying that as a fan of Sonic and wanting them to lean into more Sonic stuff. It's actually coming from the critics, which is the craziest part. So Sonic Movie 3 debuted with an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is absolutely insane. It's the highest score of of the trilogy and one of the highest scores for a video game movie. Now, keep in mind that's just the debut score, but it's still very strong nonetheless. So where does Sonic 3 stand right now? Well, with 58 reviews, we're still in the 80s. We're at an 86. Obviously, it went down a little bit, and I genuinely expect it to still continue to slide down a little bit as more reviews come in, because we know how the critics are with Sonic. I mean, look at this stupid review right here. This is a movie you take your 9-year-old nephew to when he won't shut up about Pokemon, and you need something to occupy him for a few hours before you lose your mind. Like, this is completely out of touch with a lot of the themes that I feel like are going to be present in this movie. You talk about some of the things that Shadow goes through in his whole character arc. How is this your take from the movie? I don't know if he, you know, like I said, some people just don't get it with Sonic, and they never will. But back to the review score. So yeah, we're at 58. Like I said, that's a pretty sizable chunk of reviews. If you look at Sonic Movie 2, it got 182 reviews, and it got 69. 96% with the fans, so it did really well. And then if you look at Knuckles, this is actually the highest rated project in the entire movie franchise, sitting at a 75, with a significantly lower audience score because, you know, it wasn't really a Knuckles show. It was like a Wade show, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, people, you know, the critics like the show. So with that being said, we have a sizable chunk of reviews. I think we have certainly at this point secured a higher score than Knuckles. I think between now and maybe like 100 plus more reviews, I think we're going to stay higher than a 75. I can't guarantee it's going to stay above an 86, but this is extremely promising that this many reviews in, you know, maintaining this high score. If this holds, this is the highest rated critically video game film of all time. I hope that the box office numbers kind of stay in line with this, because the box office is actually trending a little bit lower than Sonic Movie 2 for the domestic opening. But I think that they're underplaying this, and I think it's going to do even better than what they're projecting. So why don't we take a little time to look at some of these reviews and see what these critics are saying, because we need to figure out why this movie's doing so well. I think I know. I think it's because they're actually leaning into all the cool elements of Sonic. You know, it's crazy to think about it. The first movie plays it probably the safest out of all of the films, and that's the one that technically critically did the worst. Sonic 2 leaned into more Sonic elements, and then it did critically better. And now Sonic 3 leans in. This is the most Sonic-y film of all time, at least, you know, from what we're seeing in the previews, and this is the one that does the best. So that should just be a lesson to some of these production studios and all these companies, like, hey, lean into what your fans like, lean into what makes this franchise special. But let's take a look at some of these reviews. We'll do some rapid fire. It says Sonic 3 is an action-packed blast from start to finish that should please even the prickliest Green Hill Zone groupies, whatever that means. Elliot Collins says Sonic 3 delivers on its promise of excitement, adventure, and nostalgia, all while maintaining a clear focus on what makes the franchise beloved. I like to see that. The film shines thanks to its self-awareness, witty humor, and emotionally charged narrative. This one says, even with its flaws, Sonic 3 is a heartfelt, perfectly fine sequel, 3 out of 5. This one says, Sonic 3 defies the rule of sequel diminishing returns by building on the strengths of the first 2 films in the franchise to deliver a fun family movie just in time for the holidays. If they handed out awards for best performance by Jim Carrey doing Jim Carrey alongside another Jim Carrey in a video game franchise about a blue hedgehog, he'd be a solid shoo-in. Okay, whatever that means. Yo, like, who are these people? This person says, in case in laugh out loud action, Sonic 3 is a heartfelt story about navigating grief. That's why it's like, bro, how did the Pokemon guy, how was that his takeaway from the movie? Will you cry while watching a Sonic film? You might. See, it's like, bro, what do you mean Pokemon 9-year-old nephew that doesn't shut up? Like, I don't understand that. It lets Carrie be Carrie in all the best ways, and he delights about seeming to have as much fun as doing it as we're having watching it. Lets us escape entirely for 109 minutes and laugh the whole time. Maintains every improvement that the second film made on the first, but amps up the characterizations and pathos to reach new heights. Frenzied action and loopy comedy aside, Sonic 3 has heart and is aware it doesn't always gotta go fast, occasionally slowing down to ensure we care about these characters, while laying out its themes with affecting sincerity. This person says, not as good as the second one if you are looking for something like a metric for these. Sonic 3 has its laughs, a few moments of the cheerful and sweet joviality that makes the franchise generally so affable, but is ultimately forgettable. Man, see, it's like, bro, what do you mean it's forgettable? Like, based off of everything we know about this movie, what do you mean forgettable? Even remembering the basic plot is a bit of a chore. Okay. Delivers everything longtime fans will be looking for. The nods are exciting. The third act is as action-packed as any this year. Keanu's Shadow is a legit addition to this franchise, and Jim Carrey is working overtime to deliver the fans. This is the first critic I've seen even talk about Shadow, so it's like, bro, if you're not talking about Shadow, you're not doing the movie right. Oh, wait, here's a good one. At its best, Sonic 3 is an epic adaptation of the classic video game Sonic Adventure 2. At its worst, it's a painfully unfunny comedy that dumbs down the franchise's humor. Hey, listen, we were kind of aware of the comedy situation, but as far as the action and being compared to SA2, it's good. So yes, 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. History's been made. Movie 4 is coming. Let me know what you guys think about all this. We'll see you guys soon.